Have you ever wanted the ability to block certain apps from running in Windows, whether it be Microsoft Edge or your kid's favorite video game that they insist on playing before they do their homework? Well, today I'm going to show you a simple and easy to replicate process to stop individual executables from launching in Windows. And I won't be using Group Policy Editor, so you should be able to do this in Windows Home Edition as well. Stay tuned. Now, restricting the ability to launch executables has been a feature in Windows Professional Edition forever. This is a really common feature that's used in businesses to stop employees from running programs that they're not supposed to run, like, solitaire. However, we've been restricted from being able to take advantage of this feature in Windows Home Edition, but it turns out it's pretty easy to set up with a little tweaking in the registry. So today, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to do it, but first, I got to pay some bills. So check out today's sponsor. Is your copy of Windows 10 unactivated? Well, it doesn't have to be, because with today's sponsor, VIP SCD Key, you can get a valid Windows 10 license for under $20. Stop dealing with that stupid watermark on the desktop, the valid license for Windows 10. Also, with an activated copy of Windows 10, you can upgrade to Windows 11 for free. Just go to the link in the description below and pick up a valid Windows 10 license key. During checkout, use the code CYBERCPU for a 25% discount. Once you have your key, go to your activation settings in Windows 10 and click on the link that says Change Product Key. Enter the product key you just purchased and hit Activate. Now you don't have to deal with that stupid watermark that come with running an unactivated copy of Windows 10. Now, on with the video. So, I have this problem that seems to repeat itself every 2 or 3 months. You see, like most technicians, I have a lot of elderly customers that aren't quite computer literate. When things change, it makes it really difficult for them to be able to use their computer. And you know what? That's nothing against them. Different people are better at different things. Also, if it wasn't for computer illiterate people, then I actually wouldn't be employed. So I'm kind of grateful for them. However, what tends to happen is every few months I get calls stating that everything on their computer has changed and they can't find anything. Typically though, after a little bit of probing, it turns out that what's happened is that Microsoft has hijacked their browser defaults again, and they're opening Edge instead of Chrome, or whatever other browser they were using beforehand. Because of this, they can't find their favorites and none of their passwords are saved. And what's worse is that now, because Microsoft has decided to make it so complicated to change your default browser, it's virtually impossible to explain how to do this to an 80-year-old grandma over the phone. So that means it typically requires me to put them on my schedule and go out to their house to fix their computer. And that's not free. Now, don't get me wrong, I love making money, and I also don't want to take advantage of my customers either though. So it would be better to just make it so this problem doesn't happen all the time. And I was thinking maybe I could do this by blocking Microsoft Edge from starting in the first place, because typically the way Microsoft does this is that they update Edge through Windows Update and then automatically launch it and give the user a pop-up to make it their default browser. Because of course, Microsoft makes it easy to make Edge the default. They just go out of their way to make it complicated to change it to anything else. So why not just block it from running altogether? That's just one case of blocking specific executables from running within Windows. No matter what your reasoning behind doing this process, it's really not that hard. So let's jump on the computer and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so here we are in Windows 11. This should work just as easily in Windows 10. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to block Microsoft Edge, just like I was talking about before. But to do that, there's a few settings we need to change in the registry first. So go ahead and click on your Start button, type in regedit, and go ahead and launch your registry editor. You're going to have to say yes to the user account control, and then get it open just like this. Now we're going to want to go to current user. Now this is a user by user basis. So when you're making these modifications, if you have multiple user accounts that you want to block the same application from, unfortunately you're going to have to do this from each account. So if we go into current user, then we go into software. Then from software, we want to go into Microsoft. It's going to be right here. And then Windows. And all these are alphabetical, so you should just be able to scroll down to the W's, and there's Windows. And then we want to go into current version, and then policies. And again, alphabetical order Right there, policies. Okay, now the first thing that we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to create a new key. And for this key, we're just going to call it Explorer. And you might already have Explorer there, and if you do, that's fine. Go ahead and just leave it. And then at that point, once we do that, we want to go ahead and right-click again. We want to put a new DWORD 32-bit value. And for that, we want to call it disallow run. Just like that, disallow run, and go ahead and hit enter. And then for that one, we're going to double click on it and we're going to change the value to 1. And then from there, we want to go ahead and create another key. And then this key is going to be the same name. It's going to be disallow run. Just like that. And it should be spelled exactly the same way as it is here. So if you're here, disallow run here, should be exactly the same right here. And then for this, what you're going to want to do is right click, go new, and we want a string value. And for the string value, we're just going to call it 1 and go ahead and enter. Now, depending on how many apps that you want to block, every app is going to have its own string value of 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And I'll go ahead and we'll go through that as we go a little bit further into this. But for right now, just know that the first one is going to be 1, second one's going to be 2, etc., etc. So I'm going to go ahead and click the start button, and we want to find out how to open Edge. So to do that, we can't just right click on the icon here because it won't, actually it will tell you open file location. So you can do that. Click on open file location for it. And this is just the shortcut in the start menu itself. So we're going to want to right click on this. We want to go over to show more options and then into properties right here. And then from properties, this will actually tell you where the actual executable is itself. And you can also hit open file location right here, and you can see that it's right there. So the name of the application is MS Edge, and obviously it's .exe. So if we hit properties, you'll be able to see that yes, it is .exe. So once you get the name, go ahead and minimize everything. And we're going to double click on our string value here, and we're going to go MS Edge.exe. And we're going to hit OK. And then that puts MS Edge into our block list. And once you enter this thing in, all you have to do is reboot the computer and it should take effect. So we're going to go ahead and close our registry editor, close everything that we have running here. Go ahead and hit the start button and restart the system like you normally would. I'm going to go ahead and restart it and I'll meet you back here in Windows. Okay, so now that we're back in Windows, I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And when we click on Microsoft Edge, as you can see, it won't launch. Now, there's a few downsides to this process. Obviously, we're blocking these executables simply based on the name of the executable. So if you just change the name of the executable, then it'll run just fine. However, with this case, at least the one that we used right here, it should work pretty well because in order for Microsoft to be able to launch Edge again, they would essentially have to change the name of Edge. And chances are they're not going to do that. Now, on the other hand, if you're using this process to stop your employees from launching games like Solitaire, or if you're trying to stop kids from launching certain programs, then this method will only work so far as your employees or your kids are smart enough to understand what's causing the program not to run in the first place. Because you know, there's two possible ways they could get around this. They could open the registry and remove the restriction. However, they can simply rename the executable as well, just like I mentioned before. But now, depending on what program it is that you're trying to block, renaming the executable may or may not be possible. There are some executables that simply won't work if you rename them. So this problem isn't going to be, it's going to be kind of like a case-by-case basis. However, when it comes to editing the registry, we can fix that one. We can just add the registry editor to the list of block programs. Let's jump on the computer and see if that works. Okay, so just like before, we're going to go ahead and hit start. We're going to type in regedit to open up our registry editor and hit yes to user account control. And now for this one, we want to go ahead and add a second string value. And just like the last time, we named it 1. So this time we're going to name it 2. And then when we open this up, we're going to type in regedit.exe and then hit OK to block regedit. Now, I currently have regedit open, obviously, but if I close it, then click start and type in regedit and try to launch it, well, now we have a problem. Even if I try to click run as administrator, or let's say even open file location and try to run it straight off there, nope, the operation has been canceled due to restrictions in effect on this computer. Please contact your system administrator. So clearly we solved one of our issues by simply blocking the registry from being able to launch. However, you probably already realized that there is a problem with this solution. Since you've just blocked the registry editor from launching, the rules can't be changed or removed through the registry editor any longer, and that means that you can't modify the rules within the registry either. But luckily, there's a few ways to deal with this. The first one, and is probably the easiest way to deal with it, is to make sure that you have another account on the system that you can use to edit the registry. Unfortunately though, this will only give you access to your specific user account's registry hive. By default, it won't give you access to the other user account's hive that you're actually setting up these blocking settings in the editor from to begin with. Also, if you only have one account on the system, then you don't have that option anyway. So in both of those situations, honestly, what you're going to need to do is boot into recovery and edit the registry from there and regain access to the registry editor, which isn't as easy as you might think. But let's jump back on the computer and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so to do this, obviously, since we can't launch the registry editor, we're going to have to do this through recovery. So we're going to go ahead and close this, and then I'll go ahead and reboot into recovery by going on Start, clicking on Settings. You want to click on System, and then scroll down to Recovery, and then all you have to do is push this button right here that says Advanced Startup. And I'm going to go ahead and push that now, and I'll meet you in recovery. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and now that we're in recovery, we're going to go ahead and click on Troubleshoot. From Troubleshoot, we want to click on Advanced Options. And then from here, we want to click on Command Prompt. Now, from Command Prompt, all you have to do is just type regedit and click Enter, and you should open your registry editor. Now, keep in mind, this registry editor is for recovery. It's not for the live system that was just running previously. Okay, so what we want to click on here is obviously the current user in this specific registry editor is for the user account that you're currently using in recovery, which isn't going to help you right now. What we want to do is go down to HKey users down here, and then from here we want to open up another hive from the system itself, and we're going to be opening up the user hive specifically. So to do that, you're going to click on File, you're going to hit Load Hive, and then from here, you're in the System32 directory, but that's not where we want to be right now. So go ahead and hit this computer. We're going to go to C drive, we're going to go into Users, and then right now we're going to go into Rich. Now, this is where this process gets a little tricky. I've shown you in the past how to open offline hives from Windows Recovery before. However, those were local machine hives located in the System32 config directory. But in this case, the registry hive file that we need to open is a hidden file located in the specific user directory that we're editing. So in order to open it, we just need to navigate to the user directory and type in the name of the file, which is ntuser.dat, and hit open. Let's get back on the computer and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so just like I said, go into the user folder itself, and as you can see, you're not going to see the registry hive in here because it's a hidden file. So what you're going to want to type is you're just going to want to type in ntuser.dat and hit enter. And then just go ahead and give the key a name. I'm going to give the name of my user account. I think you can give it any name you want. You don't have to give it any specific name, but the user account name is nice. So go ahead and hit OK. And as you can see, now we have my name right here. And if we double click, there's the hive that we were looking for. And in order to modify it and take the registry editor out of it, we're going to have to go into Software. And then from Software, we want to go into Microsoft. And then from Microsoft, we're going to go down to Windows. And this is the same path that you used before. A little bit different because you don't have the current user, but everything else is pretty much the same. Then we're going to go into Current Version. And then from Current Version, we're going to scroll down until we see Policies. And then from Policies, we want to go into Explorer and then Disallow Run. And as you can see, there's regedit, our second one. We're going to go ahead and delete that one from the list, just like that. And at that point, we're going to go ahead and scroll back up into our registry editor here. We're going to click on the original first key that we loaded the hive into to begin with. We're going to hit File, and we're going to hit Unload Hive at that point. Then go ahead and hit Yes to unload it. And we can close our registry editor. We can close the command prompt, and we can restart the system. And to do that, I'm just going to click Continue and exit to Windows 11, and I'll meet you in Windows 11 when we're done. All right, now that we're back in Windows, we're going to go ahead and hit Start. And as you can see, we still can't open Edge because we didn't take that out of the registry. But if we type in regedit, we're going to have to close the Start menu again here and open it. And then type in Registry Editor, open it, hit Yes to the user account control. And like magic, we're back in the Registry Editor again. Now, like I said before, this can also be done through Group Policy Editor in Windows Professional Editions. If you're running a professional edition of Windows, then I recommend just doing this in the Group Policy Editor instead. Because, like I mentioned before, one of the downsides to doing it like this is we're doing it in a way that has several different ways to be able to get around it, like renaming the executable for it to be able to run. Now, this may not be possible in all cases, but it is possible in some cases. You see, the Group Policy Editor, though, works around these issues by allowing you to block executables through multiple different means. You can block them by the file name, just like we've done here, or you can block them by path. For example, you could block anything running from the Downloads folder. That, honestly might be a good rule for people who have a tendency to download a lot of things that they probably shouldn't be downloading. But you know what? Using the Group Policy Editor, you can also block applications from launching by their certificate or even their file hash itself. Now, all of these methods have some kind of forms of downsides of their own. For instance, some programs aren't even signed with a certificate in the first place. Therefore, blocking the certificate isn't going to do anything. And blocking by file hash isn't going to work if the executable is updated to a new version. And finally, blocking by path simply means that the executable needs to be moved to another path before it can be launched. But again, that might come in handy for people that download stuff they shouldn't. However, the method I showed you today not only works on all different editions of Windows, but it also works in most cases. With that said, though, this process could also be used as kind of a mean prank. If that's your thing, of course, you should check out this video here where I show tons of different Windows pranks. Some of those are actually pretty mean, but at the same time, they're pretty hilarious. But as always, you guys have a great day.